We've got the continuing crisis with coronavirus. We've got major states still shut down. The nation's capital, it's announced, will be shut down to June 8th. So in all likelihood, unless we figure out another way to do weekly updates, this will be the way you'll be seeing me for the next few weeks. But in my view, it's unconstitutional. I think many of these governors, especially the left-wing governors, are doing this to spite President Trump. They don't care about the consequences to their state's economy and the people they are responsible for. These policies are dictatorial. There's no reasonable basis for them. Thankfully, the Wisconsin Supreme Court pushed back one of these crazy draconian shutdown orders. You know, how long does it take for an emergency not to become an emergency, as opposed to, well, this is just normal? Because however unpleasant it may be, we can't do anything about the coronavirus in terms of eliminating it from our environment at this time. It's no longer an emergency, it's a fact of our lives, and we have to get back to our lives while taking into account the coronavirus and other risks to our lives and our economy and what we do every day, of which the coronavirus is one, however disturbing it may be. There is no more coronavirus emergency, but there is a constitutional emergency. There's an economic emergency. There's a liberty emergency. The latest numbers are 36+ million people unemployed. Our economy is contracting. Businesses are being destroyed. People are engaging in civil disobedience in significant ways and protesting. We've got to get DC open. DC is still closed, our nation's capital. Unbelievable. It's going to be closed through June 8th. And I've said it once, and I'm going to say it again until someone pays attention. Susan Rice, the corrupt national security advisor for President Obama, who lied repeatedly about Benghazi, is on the head of the Reopen DC committee. He's chairing it for the mayor here with Michael Chertoff, who is a Republican. Why is Susan Rice anywhere near any government position of trust is beyond me. But it shows you the political nature of the shutdown charade. You might as well have Obama himself doing it. Our nation's capital is now under the control, practically speaking, of Susan Rice. That's not what the Constitution means or requires or envisions. And then you have officials abusing their powers to achieve policy objectives, using the coronavirus as an excuse. Specifically in California, we had Gavin Newsom spend $75 million in emergency money that he wasn't authorized to spend on illegal aliens, or trying to. And Judicial Watch is sued in court to try to stop that on behalf of taxpayers. $75 million. We saw the temporary restraining order. Outrageously, the court in that case said even though we were likely to succeed on the merits, meaning that Newsom had no authority to spend the money, that there was a public interest in illegal aliens getting illegal cash. I mean, think of the logic of that? Yeah, it may be against the law, but it's important that the people who aren't supposed to be here and are here in violation of the law get the money they're not allowed to get in violation of the law. If that's the case, why have law at all? We filed another case this week in Maryland, Montgomery County, which is the big jurisdiction just north of DC. So if you're looking at a map, well, I guess I can't say, well, here's DC and there's Maryland right there at the top of the triangle, at the top of the diamond. It's right over the border. So it's wealthy jurisdiction. It has terrible, terrible sanctuary policies that have encouraged the release of rapists who are illegal aliens just to avoid without telling ICE about them. It's unbelievable, unbelievably dangerous situation in Montgomery County as a result of their sanctuary policies. And the Montgomery County executive and company have, unauthorized spending, in an unauthorized way, is spending money or trying to spend money to give cash payments again to illegal aliens. The law requires that if you're going to give benefits to illegal aliens, it needs to be specifically passed by the state legislature. And that wasn't done in California, and it wasn't done in Maryland. County is doing it on its own. So we were in court, and the county moved it to, we filed it in local court, state court, but the county insisted on moving it up to the federal court. So we had a hearing this morning. I was able to listen in. It was a tele-hearing. I don't know what the court's going to do. He should be issuing a ruling soon on our temporary restraining order. But the irony is, you hear these leftists who are violating the rule of law talk about the 10th Amendment, that the states have a right to spend this money to help illegal aliens stay here in violation of federal law. Isn't it wonderful how all these leftists become originalists? And of course, it's just bunk, but it shows you how weak their argument is. So I'm hoping the court rules in our favor, at least in part. So, I mean, there's really no one else doing this type of work, though. Justice Department should be doing it. They're nowhere to be found. I don't know what the Justice Department's doing. But we've got this coronavirus crisis that is hurting our economy. And I mean, it's destroying people's lives. There are people who can't feed their children, can't feed their families, can't pay their rent, can't pay their mortgages, you name it, because of these unscientific, irrational, and abusive shutdowns. I see I've been tweeting out. I hope you're following me on Twitter, because I do try to track this coronavirus craziness as much as I can. There's a gym owner in New Jersey. He and his colleague, his partner, own a few gyms. And, he set it up. He says, I got to open on Monday. I got to make a point to open. And he recognizes he faces criminal liability from doing so, but he wants to make the point. And of course, he's not doing anything inappropriate, in the sense that he set up the gym in a way to protect the health of his patrons, based on the junk science that we're being told about the virus. But he's trying to follow the rules. And his point is, why is it that you can go to a big business but not to a small business? Why is it okay to go into Walmart but not okay to go into a local gym or a hairdresser or even a local small toy store? Why? There's no rhyme or reason to it. And it's just arbitrary. It's the very definition of arbitrary power. And that's not the rule of law. So the people are rising up. Many governors are responding, but many more aren't. And it's those governors that are going to tear the rest of the country down. And this is why I think the president needs to intervene. Judicial Watch is looking for legal issues to pursue as well. We're investigating, obviously, through the Freedom of Information Act and other steps, but we may take more direct action. Big victory in Wisconsin. I encourage you to go read the Wisconsin decision. Maybe we'll post it here in the comment section. But it shows you that, the same attitude that led to, in my view, them spying on innocent Americans and trying to put an innocent man in jail. You say, well, how could that happen? Well, it's happening all over the country now. They're trying to put, quote, innocent people in jail for trying to feed their families, go out for a walk with their children, play in the park. So it can happen to you.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.